Okay, so have you ever wondered what a school system would look like if its whole goal was to unlock a person's true legend? Well, today, we're going to do just that. We're taking a look inside the Arreqqana academies to see how a student goes from their very first day to a single exam that will change their entire life. And this quote, this is basically the key to understanding the entire system. It comes from a senior instructor, and it's the core belief that drives everything they do. The idea is that education isn't about, just cramming facts into your head. It's about unlocking the potential that's already inside you. So what are these academies actually like? Well, first things first, you gotta forget everything you think you know about a typical school. These places aren't just for learning facts and figures. No, they're designed to forge the future, the leaders, the artists, the innovators of Arreqqana. And at the very heart of this philosophy, you've got these two incredible teachers who are almost like two sides of the same coin. On one side, there's Miss Venari Alosha. She's all about empathy and vision, really nurturing the spiritual growth of the younger students. And then you have Mr. Zandelio Marsaval Corajan. He's this stern, super insightful former scholar, and his job is to sharpen the older students, to get them ready for the seriously competitive world that's waiting for them. This contrast in teaching really sets the stage perfectly for how the students themselves evolve. We're going to follow that journey, watching how they're transformed from these quiet, introspective dreamers into razor-sharp, strategic debaters. So let's start at the beginning in class 902. This is Miss Aloshaya's domain. The whole vibe here is super creative, very introspective. You've got students like Pikalila, she's a real poetic soul, also the class rep, and her friend Yavena, who's known for being quiet and keeping these incredibly detailed dream journals. This is the foundation, right? It's a safe space for them to figure out who they are. But wow, fast forward just a couple of years, and the whole thing just flips. It's a huge shift. The focus goes from that inner world of poetic souls and dream journaling to the external battlefield of competitive spirits and strategic minds. I mean, even the words they use to describe the students totally change, from artistic to just ambitious. And that brings us to Class 11-05. Welcome to Mr. Karajan's world. This is it, the final proving ground, the arena. The key players here? You've got Jaru, who's this super confident, stylish, top-tier debater. Then there's his best friend Suravara, who's incredibly clever and witty. And of course, you can't forget Alessa, Jaru's rival. She's brilliant and absolutely ruthless. The air in here is just electric with competition. Every single day feels like a high-stakes chess match. So what in the world are these students learning that causes such a massive transformation? Let's take a look at the curriculum, because some of these subjects are what really shape their minds. The entire curriculum is built on what they call the 5 pillars of knowledge. And get this, they're all equally weighted. You've got the spiritual side with sacred language, then the analytical stuff like math and Cuver sciences, you've got social histories for the cultural aspect, and then creative threads for expression. This balance, it's everything. It's absolutely key to understanding what they're trying to build. And some of these subjects are just completely unique. Take something called mathematical thread theory. Now, this is not your average calculus class. Try to imagine a mix of advanced math, spatial logic, and this really specific cultural numerology that's all tied to patterns and threads. It's somehow both super logical and deeply symbolic at the same time. So what does a test question for that even look like? Well, here's an example. Decode a sequence of threadline patterns. Yeah, you can see right away they're not just solving for X here. They are literally interpreting a complex, layered language that's part logic, part culture. Or how about this one from the Q-Havera Sciences section? Explain the molecular behavior of sea glass in sacred flame. I mean, come on. That question just perfectly shows how science and spirituality aren't seen as separate things at all. They're totally intertwined. All of that studying, all of that pressure, it all comes down to one single massive event, the final placement exam. This one test is literally the gatekeeper to a student's entire future. 500. Just let that number sink in for a second. 500. That is the total number of questions these students have to answer in one 4-hour sitting. The sheer scale of it tells you everything you need to know about how intense and important the stay is. And here's why it matters so much. those results dictate everything. A student's score determines where they're placed in university, which then decides their college stream. Are they going into Temple Sciences, engineering, the arts? That one score sets them on a path for their entire career. I mean, the stakes just could not be any higher. And this table really shows that balance we were talking about in action. Each of the 5 pillars is worth exactly 100 points. What that means is you can't just be a genius in one area and slack off in the others. Nope. To succeed, you have to be genuinely well-rounded. There are no shortcuts. This brings us right back to where we started, you see? The whole system, the teachers, the crazy curriculum, that monster of a final exam, it's all been engineered for one single purpose: to force that legend within each student to come out. So, after all of that, all the pressure, all the unique learning, what kind of person actually comes out the other side of the Arreqqana Academies? Well, the Arreqqana ideal is pretty amazing, actually. They're looking for someone with spiritual fluency and a real sense of harmony with the elements. Someone who has deep respect for ancestral knowledge, but can also think creatively and express themselves. And, of course, they have to have a sharp, strategic mind. They are built from the ground up to be leaders, in every sense of the word. But here's the kicker. It's not all about scores and strategic thinking. The exam has this one final piece: a bonus, optional personal reflection essay. And this part really gets to the heart of their whole philosophy. It isn't even scored, but it's considered incredibly important. And the question they ask isn't about what they've learned, but about who they are. It's this: which kin, that's their ancestral spirit animal, best represents your spirit, and why? It's just this final, really profound moment of looking inward. It proves that unlocking your legend isn't just about what you know. It's about knowing yourself. Kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What would your answer be?